And one of those countries, the biggest country, is obviously Iran. And whenever you and I talk, the conversation always goes back to Iran. As you said earlier, Hamas is on its last legs. It's not the same organization it was 11 months ago. Wouldn't you think Iran would want a negotiation or a deal, a ceasefire deal? Where are they when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask because it allows us to zoom back out and look at the full picture here in the Middle East. Okay, so we have 7 fronts in the Middle East where Iran is fighting Israel, where they have attacked Israel and continued to wage war since October 7th. You have Iran itself. Obviously, they have the threat of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles and drones. They have their nuclear program. We're sitting here right now still waiting potentially for some massive missile threat coming from Iran that they haven't delivered yet, but they say still might come any day. We have obviously seen a daily barrage of dozens, if not hundreds sometimes, of rockets, missiles, and drones coming from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon into Israel. We have evacuated towns along the Israeli border with Lebanon now for almost 11 months. We have massive terror cells that are being taken on right now by the Israelis in Judea and Samaria or the West Bank, where Iran has been funding big Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and other cells there to launch all kinds of terrorist attacks based out of the West Bank itself, inside the Palestinian territory there. You have the militias, of course, still in Iraq and Syria. You have the Houthis blowing up oil tankers in the Red Sea still, nonstop. We have 2 carrier strike groups in the region, and yet we can't stop the Houthis from firing missiles and hitting oil tankers, including this week. 2 more being hit, including one from Saudi Arabia. Then, of course, you have Gaza and Hamas there as well. And so what is Iran's game here? They don't want a deal. They want Israel squeezed. They built a ring of fire, and they continue to tighten and tighten and tighten that ring. They want to stay between hyper-escalation, which could provoke a massive response against them, either from Israel, more likely, or less likely from the United States if they go too far, and actual de-escalation, which would be a ceasefire. Why? Because when you stay in that middle section of Israel getting squeezed, you allow the international community, allow the UN to come forward and blame Israel, put pressure on Israel. You have the Biden administration blaming Israel. Bibi Netanyahu needs to do more to get a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Iran gets to keep waging war on 7 fronts, squeezing the Israelis. United Airlines, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, today, not flying to Israel. By the way, outrageous, completely outrageous. Lufthansa Group has restarted flights since the original Iran threat a few weeks ago. The American carriers are refusing to fly to Israel, even though El Al flies on a daily basis and never stopped. The airspace is open. No airport has been targeted. No airplane has been targeted, thank God, until now. And it would be very foolish of this enemy to try that because, my God, the response of the United States would be enormous. But this is now an economic impact on Israel that Iran is enjoying because they're staying in this middle ground. No actual deal, but no hyper-escalation to prompt a retaliation inside their borders. And remember, I'll close with this, the clock keeps ticking on the nuclear program while all of this is going on. This remains the weapon of mass distraction from their pursuit of a weapon of mass destruction. And we should be getting very worried about where they are on that progress, because every report that's come out in the last few weeks says they're not just creating more and more of the fissile material potential to build a nuclear bomb, that high enriched uranium. They are working on the bomb itself with computer modeling towards a weapon that is a change in the assessment of the intelligence community for many years. We should be very alarmed at their progress on the nuclear side while all of this is going on, which I think is their entire intention.